Leftist members of Congress, you could call them, I guess, the Hamas caucus now. They were called that before, and certainly they have continued to double down in their support of Palestinian terror, even when they call on Hamas and say, well, they shouldn't have done this, they shouldn't have done that. But you've really got to look at the bigger context of why they're raping women, why they're killing women and children and civilians. So I want to play this soundbite right away because this is the head of the Progressive Caucus. This is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and she was slammed after demanding a balanced criticism when asked about Hamas rapes and Israel's response to the attack on October 7th. Take a listen.
I'm asking you about Hamas. In fact,
I already answered your question, Dana. I said it's horrific, and I think that rape is horrific, sexual assault is horrific. I think that it happens in war situations. Terrorist organizations like Hamas obviously are using these as tools. However, I think we have to be balanced about bringing in the outrages against Palestinians. 15,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes, 3/4 of whom are women and children.
And it's horrible, but you don't see Israeli soldiers raping
well, Dana, I think
women.
I don't want this to be the hierarchy of oppression.
Okay, it's not a hierarchy of oppression. It's called, one, who started the conflict? Hamas. How did they start the conflict? By attacking civilians, taking hostages, raping women and children, killing women and children. And so they started the conflict, which then led to Israel having to respond. And they started a conflict with an actual state with a full-scale military that respond to eliminate this terror threat. But Logan, when you hear those words, however, it's like, how can a progressive leader even try and justify, as she did, and say, well, yes, it's bad that they did this, but it's almost like it's okay that they did this because they're so oppressed.
It's even the irritability in the voice.
The evilness there. You have to be a truly evil person to rape children. It's not a tit-for-tat situation. Right. I'm oppressed, so I'm going to rape the opponent's kids.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not right.
I think you could just tell in the irritability that I've already answered this. Like the fact that you feel like you're being pushed into a corner, but you're not willing to even accept any of the consequences from it when it looks at this. I mean, it's even a headline right now. Again, the balanced criticism is what they're calling for. Yeah. It's absurd. It's really a sad time that this even has to be a discussion. And, Jordan, that even the liberal Democrats feel like they have to do this. You know, I'm sure she does believe it. I don't question that she does believe what she's saying right now, which is we got to be more balanced with our views upon this. Right. But it's sad that you also have people probably who politically would be more pro-Israel at this point, but feel like their constituents had a problem with it. And that's a concern.
She leads the Progressive Caucus. So when she speaks not just for herself, but for all the progressives on Capitol Hill. And let me tell you something. Unless one of them showed up that I didn't know of, when we did our briefing for congressional Democrats, that Jared Moskowitz, a great friend of mine, a strong supporter of Israel, who is a Democrat congressman in Florida and worked in the DeSantis administration. So really someone who can work across both sides of the aisle, and I commend him for that. I didn't notice a single person from the Progressive Caucus showing up there. I mean, there were certainly some that were more liberal, some that were more moderate. Most of them were Jewish, and most again, were there not in a partisan way, but just to hear the stories of these families who had traveled. And this, offline, I won't name the names, Logan, but what I will say is this, that I heard from one of my colleagues there on the other side of the aisle. And there were a few. It's not just Jared. And they said to me, what you're hearing publicly, when we go into caucus, it's 10 times worse.
In what way?
What they're saying about Jews. And what they're saying about Hamas supporting, what they're saying about they got what they deserved, and things like that. So this is their toned-down CNN version of trying to make it sound kind of confuse you in the sense that she's condemning the Hamas rape, but she's also equating it to Israel responding. Not a single person in Gaza would be dead today if Hamas had not invaded Israel on October 7th. In fact, not a single person in Gaza would be dead today if Hamas had just fired a few rockets into Israel, which they do regularly. The people that are dead, and I don't know if I believe their numbers. It's very difficult to you have to trust Hamas on those numbers. But claiming those numbers to be true, it is Hamas who is responsible for those 14,000 people that they say were killed being killed. And the reason why is this. They knew it was coming, and they wouldn't let the people leave. Israel told them where to go and where it would be safe. And guess what Hamas did? If you tried to go down that road, they either forced you around, and if you didn't turn around, they killed you.